Hi, Shakti here. Welcome to my third part of five-part series on pitfalls of modern day meditation and the tools and methodologies to bridge the gap. We are in a fast food culture, aren't we? We want instant result in everything we do. In the same way, the modern day self-help industry promotes meditation as a magic pill or an aspirin for not for headache but for anxiety and stress. In my first video of this series, I referenced a study done by a scientist at Brown University, UK, where they observed nearly 65% of mindfulness meditation practitioners experiencing what is called relaxation induced anxiety, RIA. Some people experienced very significant distress, including fear, loss of sense of self, or panic attack. To understand what happens in those practitioners, I dive deeper into my own personal experience and knowledge I gained in my spiritual path through the studies of ancient Indian system. In ancient Indian tradition, the yoga system from which the word meditation, the concept of meditation has taken to the modern world, meditation is not the first step. It's the seventh step. I leave out the sixth step for the time being. I'll come back to it in my later videos. The first five steps offer the scaffold. They offer the, what do you call, the preparation to experience the silence and at the same time not to be affected by the internal and external noise. What do I mean by that? Imagine the human body as a three-part system or a two-part system and the external world, which I'm calling as a third part. There is an internal operating system in every one of us that's made of our own unique DNA, our genetic information, coding, all our conditioning, learning, experience, knowledge, opinions, ideas, etc., stored somewhere in the operating system. And the physical body, the flesh, blood, and bone, the body. In between these two, there is an awareness which can see what's happening inside the internal operating system as well as has a contact to the external world through the physical body using our five senses. I'll give two examples. A simple one, basic understanding or basic science, common sense or science. You know, water falls from a higher level to a lower level. If you create a lower level, water from a higher level flows towards the lower level. In the same way, air flows from high pressure system to the low pressure system. If you consider the human being, there is noise inside and outside. The mind is constantly chattering, there is noise, and we constantly take input from the environment, and there is a constant noise from outside also. If you do meditation and you happen to silence your mind, it's very similar to creating a low pressure system. Air from the surrounding high pressure system flows into the low pressure system. The noise from inside and outside flows to the silence that you create due to meditation. And that causes distress. That causes discomfort. In order to manage it, first of all, you need to have a clearer intellectual understanding and then the tools and techniques to regulate ourselves. The ancient system, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, 8 limbs of yoga, 8 branches of yoga, 8 parts of yoga, whatever language you use to interpret it, translate it, has The first five steps, the scaffold, to monitor, to regulate, and to manage the inflow of the noise from internal and outer external system. I'm using Sanskrit words here to give reference for you if you want to do further research. They are not moral or religious codes. They are cognitive, biological, emotional requirements, basic requirements. In psychology, we talk about the relationship. When you talk of relationship, it's relationship to yourself, to the world, people around you, and to the external world. So these five steps are the scaffolds, just regulating, identifying, recognizing, and regulating those relationships. So the first step is called Yama. This is referencing to social coherence. Again, I'll give two examples. For a musician to record a good quality music, during the recording process or during even the practice process or recording process, the musician locks themselves up in a soundproof booth. The recording takes place in the soundproof booth. Once the music is recorded, the quality, high quality music is recorded, it can play in the noisy marketplace or anywhere without losing its quality. Keep that example in mind. Another example is a surgeon, a heart surgeon or a neurosurgeon, a specialist. A surgeon cannot faint by looking at the blood. The surgeon cannot cry when he sees the suffering of the patient. A surgeon cannot fright when they have to cut open the skin and look at the body inside. The surgeon gains necessary knowledge, skill, mental stamina, physical hand coordination, concentration, and the courage and the determination to help the patient cure their illness. The social coherence Yama aspect provides just that. There is noise in the outside world. Either we can choose to be affected by the noise. There are wars happening all over the world currently. Sitting far away, say where I am in Melbourne, I can either cry or I become the surgeon and stay strong and radiate my love and peace. So the first process, Yama, gives this intellectual understanding and creates this awareness. You cannot be sick enough to cure the sick. You cannot be poor enough to help the poor. I think these are the two famous lines I learned a long time ago when I was reading some spiritual text. So we become strong, we become internally stable and strong. And the first step, Yama, prepares you in that way. The second step is Niyama, which is cultivating the internal emotional resilience. We have our own fears, emotional reactive patterns, triggers, and shame and other qualities and the trauma, so many imprints that we have that kind of take control of our behavior. So we need to understand all those internal landscape and regulate the internal landscape so that the mind has a resting place. That is done by the second step, Niyama. The third step is called asana, which is equivalent to modern day yoga. Yoga is not the right word for asanas. Yoga means union. It has got a different meaning: union of the heart and the mind, union of the mind and the soul, union. Wherever there is union of two different faculties happening. Asanas are the physical exercise part of it, like going to the gym, building the muscles, withstanding the aches and pains when you relax the mind. The body and the mind are two separate entities. You, when the body is calm, the mind needs to be calm. When the mind is agitated, the body needs to be calm to regulate the mind. When the body is agitated or in ache and pain, the mind takes control and takes control and soothes the body. That kind of interaction between the body and the mind, you need a strong body. So asanas provide that. And the fourth step is pranayama, which is equivalent to the modern day breath exercise. But the ancient pranayama has several techniques and several purposes and orientations. We will go into that in detail later. But the breath exercise is basically controlling the nervous system. It just does that. It's regulating the frequency of the human body. And the last step is pratyahara. This is what I call is closing the gates, controlling the sensory inputs, controlling the five senses. Either control the environment, turn off your TV, mobile phone, close the door, create a quiet environment, and also uh, control the sense organs to stay with the practice that you're doing. Control the sense organs so that they don't drive you crazy when you're sitting down still for meditation. So these are the 5 steps. If you think about it, it seems again common sense to me and basic requirement. But with the scaffold, with this understanding, intellectual understanding, and the preparation that you can take up to understand your internal and external landscape and monitor and regulate yourself, any silence that is created during meditation and the sudden inflow of noise from internal and external, you can regulate. You can monitor, control, and regulate. This is just an introduction. I will make videos on each and every one of these topics separately. If you want to understand more or want to contact me, my contact details are in the description box. And also, I have given a good description on all these 5 processes down in the description box. Stay tuned to my future videos and welcome to the baseline. Have a nice day. Thank you.